Today I'm going to do something very controversial, but the intention is to make it simple for you to understand. So please be with me in everything I say. I want response.
Okay.
Can I ask you to respond with every question I ask you? And you don't have to give a speech. Just yes or no.
Okay.
Yeah, simple.
Yeah.
So how many of you have done more than one jobs in life? More than one jobs in life.
Oh, Scott.
Okay. Only one job. So
Oh.
everyone has done more than one job. More than two jobs in life. It can be the same organization. More than three jobs in life. More than four. Five? Okay. 5, 6. All right. So the highest number of jobs in the room, we have 5. So in total, at least all of you potentially have done more than 100 jobs in life. So I'm sure you remember what happens when you join a job for the first time, and over time when you progress through the stages of the career in that job. So then some things happen. Do you want to know what happens?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So today my speech is going to be about what happens from life and death. Who's that guy? Why should you listen to this guy? The important question is 20 plus. What do you think that number is?
8.
The number of jobs. Thank you. Give him a round of applause, all of you. That's the number of jobs I have done in my lifetime. 2000 plus.
Hours.
I didn't have that many girlfriends. 2000 plus is the number of companies I've worked with as a consultant.
Oh, cool.
And the last one, 20,000 plus. Any
Salary.
guesses?
Emails.
No, not my salary. Not emails. Those are the number of employees I have supported on learning development as an HR professional. So I guess you should listen to this guy now. Yeah? All right. That brings me to stage 1. What is stage 1 of our life? What happens?
Born.
You're born. Thank you. So let's meet Joe. Right? I'm going to take you to the story of Joe. And potentially Joe is all of you. It could be you. So he's gender free. So it could be a girl, could be a guy. But I'm going to use the word Joe for reference for ease. Yeah? So let's meet Joe and let's see what Joe goes through as an employee and his life. You know, stay with me because I'm trying to compare the employee life cycle with your life. There's no difference, and let's see how. So the first stage, thank you very much, Scott. The first day Joe enters the world. You remember the day when you came to this world? Of course not. Your memory doesn't work that much. Now what happens? In organizations you are recruited. That is the birth of an employee. That is the birth of Aston, of Katrina. And those of you, I can't address you with the names because I don't remember, but that was the first day. Remember the first day when you were actually born, that is you join an employee. We call that recruitment. What happens? How did it feel on day 1 at the workplace?
Awkward.
Excited.
Excited,
Nervous.
nervous. But you know how did Joe feel? Confused. Where's the cafeteria? How do I get the coffee? What are the values? Do I get lunch or not? Are there politics? Are they not? So all those questions going in your mind. So what does Joe do? He moves to the next stage. In the next stage, what is the next stage? What happened to you when you joined Scott?
Go wrong.
You grow. Before growth, what happened? After day 1, what happens next?
Day 2.
Day 2. You are included as a part of the team. You go to prepare. You got a job. Remember the first day you went to school?
Yes.
Remember how did you feel? You cried, you were far away from your mother, from your father, and that wasn't easy. And therefore, as organization, we understand. And if your boss did not put you through this, then you should go through this program. Induction, orientation, teaching you what are the values, what are the policies. All of you went through an induction? Yes or no? Who did not go through an induction program? Oh man, we got to talk to your boss then. So it is very important that you go through an induction or onboarding program to understand, to be a part of the family. And if you don't go through that induction program, then you're going to be all confused like Joe was. So when you go through that induction program, that orientation program, what happened to Joe? How do you feel after the induction? Aston, how did you feel after the induction in the first job?
See many new faces.
See many new faces. You're still thinking. You have a little bit more confidence, but you're still not completely there. So it's like half-half, right? I guess I know how to navigate my way, but I'm not 101% sure. So that's the emotions. Now think very carefully what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring emotions into the life cycle. Now most often your boss, the organization, ignore your emotions. Now emotions is what drives you, and if you don't look after your emotions, you got a problem, right? Because emotions can make you and break you. If emotions are passion, if emotions are drive, you can create companies like Mark Zuckerberg did Facebook. If emotion is a problem, it can break you like a nervous breakdown, stress, depression. So it is the emotions you got to watch out for. So that is the next stage. Now what happens in stage 3? Any guesses? What happens in stage 3? You were born in the organization. You were onboarded. What happens next?
Development.
Become a senior.
Development. Well, Joe starts thinking about something. He starts thinking about what he's gonna get, right? He starts thinking of the report card. Is he gonna be excellent? Is he gonna be grade A, B, C? You think about that every year? What do we call it? We in the organization call it performance management, right? So you are all excited, you want to get the bonus, you want to get the salary, you want to get the increment, everything what happens. But how do you feel after the appraisal? How do you feel after the appraisal? Let's see, how does Joe feel? It is never as per your expectations, right? You always think so much, but what happens is so low. I mean, say, unfortunately, it never works out, but unfortunately, the organization has thousands and thousands of people. So I can't give $1 million salary to everyone. Maybe some, but not all. Yeah, so that's the problem. Now, we can't think, because for us, our bonus is important, our salary is important, and when we don't get that, we become like Joe, angry. Yes? Happened with you, Howard? Every time after the appraisal, when your wife, when your girlfriend wants that ring, and then Howard says, I'm so sorry, I didn't get the bonus, you know. So we got to postpone it till next year, and then next year again there's a cut, and again no bonus. So that's the whole impression. Now you always need to catch yourself that how did the company perform? How did the team perform? And obviously there are challenges to give you what you really want. So yes, don't stop asking, but the important thing is that it's not easy giving everyone what they really want. So let's move on. Stage 4. What happens on stage 4? So you got birth, you got onboarded, you went through school, and now what happens next? Any guesses? So you got everything you want. You want sharper skills. So for skills, where do you go?
HR development.
HR development. But before that, in life, you go to university, right? So after you finish school, you go to university, you do accounting, or you do computers. You know, you get all those skills so that you can get the job. And in organization, when you are done with the job and you want to change a role, you need new skills. So you go to L&D. Now, learning and development gives you the skills so that you can do a job, the credit job you want, the computer job you want. You, at the end of the day, need the skills, because education is important, but what is more important are skills. Now, How do you feel once you get those skills? How do you feel after the workshops you attend? You went through the workshop where you get really energized. How did you feel?
Confidence.
Okay, so he felt boring, but you felt
Confidence.
confident, right? Most of us feel confident. How did Joe feel? Joe felt inspired. Come on, let that come on. I'm ready for the new role, for the new job. You won't tell the boss who's going to get your job, I'm bored, right? That's yet to come. We get bored, but in the later stage, yeah? So hang on with the boring words. So you feel normally inspired, especially after a leadership workshop, especially after a motivation workshop. And that's what happened to Joe. So that's the fourth stage. Moving on, what's the next stage? You got all your skills. What do you want next with these skills? What do you want with those skills? You want the
Salary
next
increase.
salary increase, but how can you get a salary increase? By getting a promotion, getting a new job, getting a better, more challenges. So obviously Joe wants to grow, right? Who spoke about growth? You spoke about growth, right? So you want to grow because you got all the skills. You want that next job. Now obviously to get the new job, you have to look at the options. You got to look at the job options and the career option in this organization. I hope you don't leave us and stay in the same organization, but you want to grow, you want a better job. So what do we call that? Talent management, right? We find that job for you, we put you in the boxes, and when you are that box which is high caliber, we promote you. Yes? So that is what we do in organization. You got to ensure that you are standing out. It is not about having skills. It is not about only socializing, but it is also about being visible. It is about people knowing that you can do that job better than anyone else. That is about standing out. Moving on. So how do you feel when you're applying for promotions and you don't get that promotions? You want that job, you got the skills, you are waiting for the job. How do you feel?
Anxious.
Anxious. How did you feel when you applied for the job and you don't get a response?
Nervous.
Nervous, right?
Go away.
How did Joe feel? It's like forever, right?
Yes.
It never gets over. It's so difficult. It's like, I give an application, that person doesn't reply. But I don't know that person has to go through 1,000 applications. I don't know that your application is one in the 1,000, but you gotta wait. Joe has to wait. And that wait lasts forever. So that is the stage. Then what starts happening in stage 6? My friend, I'm coming to you. What happens in stage 6? What did you say? You get?
You get
Okay, you don't get fired yet. In the next stage, what happens is Joe start feeling
Bored.
I would say after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years in the same job, what do you feel? You know, there's always that upside and the downside. And in life, what do we call it? We call it midlife crisis. We all go through that, right? At my age, your age, we go through that crisis, right? What am I doing 9 to 6 every day, the same old boring job, right? It's like it's difficult to continue not again, Monday morning. Isn't it so difficult? We go through that. And that is what we in organization, what do? We do surveys, right? We call it employee engagement. So we're going to pump your engagement up because your productivity is falling. But it's difficult, right? Getting people, you got to give them new challenges. Everywhere I go, the number one question HR heads ask me is that how do we engage millennials? How do we engage young people like you and you and you? It's so difficult. They don't understand that you need more challenges, you need variety, you need new roles. You can't just do the same job forever, right? You got to get into new ways of doing things. That's how you thrive. But they don't get that. So how do you feel?
Frustrated.
Frustrated. How did you feel? Oh, you're in the same job. but after a period of time, let's say 5 years, 6 years in the same job, or 3 years for millennials, or 2 years, or 1 year for computer geeks. So how do you feel? How did you feel after many years in the same job?
It's like a routine.
Yes, it's like a routine. How did Joe feel? Questions, what do I do next? I'm stuck here, right? I need the money, I need to pay the house bills, I need to buy that ring for my wife, so I can't quit. But it's so difficult, right? What do I do next? What do I do next in my career, in my job? It is such a difficult question, and they're questions. And this is a time organization can employ coaches, counselors, to actually talk to you and give you a new career perspective, to actually listen to you. And maybe you don't like accounting and put you in another job, right? Maybe you don't like computers, maybe you want to do credit, I don't know. But you've got to figure that thing out. That is really, really important. What next? And when you figure that thing out next, it is all great. But if you don't, what happens? What did you say? You start thinking in a very different way. You start getting low and low. So what happens? You take your final breath in life. And the final breath is you pass away. Death of the employee. And we call it resignation. You quit. You leave the organization, and that's the death of the employee. So you enter the organization, you grow, you learn, you develop, you get disengaged, and then finally you fire yourself. Well, 1% get fired, but 99% unless you work for Donald Trump. But majority of us, and here firing does not only mean leaving the organization, it can be leaving that job, that boss, another department. So you leave, and when you get the job, you always want, what is the feeling again? How do you feel? When you get that new job, that new role, when you're quitting, it feels like happy, freedom, right? You feel free again, and then again you take birth. So you feel free, you feel really energized with the whole thing which has happened, because you start the cycle again. And this is the beauty of the whole thing, because in the whole process of the 7 stages, you're going from one stage to another. The thought I want to leave you with is not different from life, but it's better than life. And why is it better than life? In the company, you actually go from one stage to another. It is the same stage you go in your life from one stage to another. But the point is this, in life you get one chance. When you die, game over, right? But in a job, you get many chances. So if you do 7 jobs in your lifetime of 40 years or 30 years or 50 years, that is like repeating the process again and again. So you get many retakes in here, in organizations. So the point I want to leave you with, every time you take up a new job, watch your emotions. How do they actually grow? How do they actually go down? And what is that you need to do different? That will not only empower you to take charge of your careers, but also it will help you as HR professionals, as CEOs and business heads to actually look after your employees. So the final point I want to leave you with is this: be a victor. And who's a victor? Victor focuses on things he controls, and victim focuses on things he does not. Thank you very much.